folks. This is Dan Cuddy announcing from North Allegheny High School for the Upper St. Clair Panther soccer team. We're here to take on the Norwin side tonight. Both teams are obviously in the semifinals of the WPIAL 4A division. We expect a good match tonight. It's a nice night, a little chilly, but I'm sure both teams are ready to roll and get it on. Looks like St. Clair has a good bit of a student section going. They usually have a good one, so we usually travel well. All the parents go to all the games, and looks like Norwin has a good bunch of folks too. And we're off. And Norwin starts trying to get the ball down the left edge. Riley Renthal makes him go back. And it is quickly stuck by Connor Ryan. St. Clair occasionally starts slow. We'll see if they like to, or if they're going to try and, I imagine since the playoff game, get going faster tonight instead of trying to just feel the other team out. Norwin's obviously also had a successful season being here. And Ben back down with his first touch. Gets it outside to our outside back. Ben gets it back and puts a nice through ball up the wing. Connor Ryan couldn't get to it. Looks like Norwin's in a 4-2-3-1 formation, and I believe that at the moment St. Clair may be as well, although St. Clair's been a bit of an amoeba this year. They switched out of their traditional 4-2-3-1 into 4-3-3 at times, 4-4-2, kind of playing a diamond in the midfield. So it looks like we may be in more of a 4-3-3 now. Actually, excuse me, 4-4-2 with the that diamond in the middle. And goes off the table, couldn't get to it. St. Clair's made a couple position changes coming into the playoffs here. We've got Zach Shoemaker, who has been a forward or a midfielder all season, now back to his more traditional spot of center back. We've got Riley Lenthal playing right outside back instead of the center back. And Zach Ioli has been moved up into the midfield as well. We've had a couple injuries out of our last game. Ben Berlovic has a broken right big toe, which is a bit tough to play soccer with. And Zach Ioli had what I believe was a dislocated shoulder, but he is playing tonight. And it looks like we got some space out there with Riley Lenthal on the right side. Norwin appears to be fairly patient back on defense. They're not biting on the through balls. They're not letting the guys get through. And Zach Shoemaker decides, I do not want that ball back here. Knocks it down with his head and clears it out well. Well, Dylan Muir with a good touch. Almost had that ball to Ben Berlovic. He's taken down. He'll live, but that probably was a foul. Oh, we got knocked through. Wow, good job by Zach Shoemaker. That's probably Norwin's star player, number 6 out there on the right. Zach was able to knock the ball away from him. And that'll be a free kick for St. Clair. Norwin falls back pretty quickly, so we've got some space here. RJ White taking a survey of the field. They got a through ball for Norwin. He's got some speed up front there. Oh! Oh. Difficult play there. Zach Shoemaker looked like he stepped up a bit, underestimating the speed of their attacker. Got the ball through. Actually hit the post. It bounced back out. He stayed with it. Was able to knock it home. So at the 35-30 mark, Norwin is up 1-0.
Norwin goal scored by number 6, Carter Breen.
And that's a guy I referenced before, Carter Breen.
4 minutes, 30 seconds of the first half. Breen with the goal.
Got one of the captain's armbands on, and apparently that is one of the reasons why he wears it. And Colin Sibley sends it long for Zach Ioli. Zach pops it back in the middle, but to no avail. He shields it out for a white ball. And Danny Berlin will throw it in. St. Clair's got to move a bit if they want the ball here. Okay, comes to Zach Ioli. Tries to beat the defender. It looks like Norwin's defense is fairly stout. They're not letting people get through it very easily yet. Some of the skill level might be lacking back there, if that's play out as any indication, but they are certainly keeping St. Clair at bay right now. And RJ White with a little foray into the offensive zone. He got his pocket picked. Now Riley Lenthal is out there to clean up the mess. Well, they have got some guys that can really move up front. Anyway. St. Clair's going to have to be very mindful of those two forwards. Oh, that'll be a foul. Ben Berwick doesn't think so, but he did knock the defender over. It does look like more St. Clair's more in their 4-2-3-1. I take back my formation assessment of before. Zach Ioli is not pushed up as far as he did in the last game, nor is Connor Ryan. Ben Berwick sitting up there waiting for the ball a bit. And Ben back down and Colin Sibley are playing more holding midfielders. Norwin D is tough. They know that might have been an offsides play, but the ref doesn't think so. Riley Lenthal gets back for a shield. Danny Berlin was able to get a block on it. Now St. Clair gets it out. Colin Sibley gets a heat out of the hot kitchen. Like I said, St. Clair's defense going to have to be very careful back there. Looks like we're susceptible to some through balls early on because of the speed. And Connor Ryan tried to get a ball across to Zach Ioli. Was defended well. Now Ben Backdine surveys the field. Back to Colin Sibley. Back out to Riley Lenthal. Now we're content to move it around the back here and try and set some things up. Teams move the ball around the back. I don't know, the general soccer fan might get bored with that, but it actually tends to get the other team to shift, get some forwards and midfielders able to move into some pockets of space and collect a ball or two. That's really the real reason for it, other than just possessing it. I don't know what the referee's issue was there, but St. Clair's got the throw in. Crosses it over to Connor Ryan and goes off his shoulder, and it will be Norwin ball. Unlucky heavy touch by Zach Ioli. But he hustles back, that's for sure. What he's always going to do is hustle. And Riley Lenthal is able to clean up the mess in the back. St. Clair's going to have to sort this out. They've got one of the Norwin forwards is trying to sit between their center backs. They're passing them off occasionally, but with the speed they've got, they've been able to break in there. And Riley Lenthal came over and took the center player there. Lucky he did. There was a guy in the back post waiting for the ball. I've got a corner for Norwin at the 30-56 mark. Again with a 1-0 Norwin lead. I tell you, St. Clair has been susceptible on corners all year, and that almost made them pay again. That was a ball in the back post that Norwin almost headed in, but the keeper was able to make a nice save on. That was a good lucky reaction save by our goalkeeper Murphy. And Norwin's got the ball again down the edge. And Ben Berlovic gets a touch on the ball, tries to get it out wide to Connor Ryan. And Connor got it anyways. Connor's always got a good touch on the ball, settles it over to Zach Ioli. Zach's going to settle it down, take a look, try and beat his man. Oh, good defense by the right back for Norwin. Able to shield Zach off and knock the ball down. No one home for the Norwin knock through. Oh, Zach Ioli is able to get an RJ White through ball. A little heavy touch knocks off the end of the table. St. Clair likes to pound the ball forward, tries to get these creative through balls, big, long passes. But they're more effective when they keep the ball on the floor, 2-3 touch and knock it through midfield that way. But you got to keep the defense honest and try and knock long balls or they don't respect your short game. Now Colin Sibley with his speeds going through. Out to Connor Ryan. And we get a corner out of it. Connor Ryan was able to hustle up to the ball. Defender had to defend it. Went off his foot, off his toe, probably off the end line. Looks like Dylan Muir out there to take the corner. Lofts a nice high ball in. RJ White got beat to the ball there. Colin Sibley's able to pick up the mail. And we got a 1-2. Oh, again, good defense by Norwin. They cover for each other well. That center back came out there. Actually, that was the left outside back who had been caught up. He got back. St. Clair got lucky there and picked up another corner. Only got one guy up near the keeper. Everyone else is on the back post making a run in. We went near post there and looks like we're going to get another shot at a corner. Now Zach Schumacher comes up, sneaking into the offensive end. Danny Berlin staying back. Connor Sibley staying back at the midfield line. Or excuse me, just hanging back in the midfield. And it will be a third corner in a row for St. Clair. So at the 27:05 mark, our third corner in a row. Goes more to the 6-yard line now. Knocked down by Norwin and out. No, not out yet, but throw in St. Clair. Berlovic, a little bit of a heavy touch off the chest. Riley Lenthal steps up nicely. We kind of sent it through their center back there. Settled well with the head down back. Ben Backdine. Ben Backdine's a hard player, but he got the ball stolen there. And we played this one well. Riley excuse me, RJ White knocks it out to Danny Berlin. Collected again by RJ White. Tried to go up the midfield to Ben Berlovic. Don't know if he saw the Norwin defender there. And Connor Ryan with 2 men on him. Gets dispossessed, but cleaned up by RJ White. Norwin side definitely looks like they've got a little bit more actual soccer action going. St. Clair at this point is just kind of surviving, especially down 1-0 on the scoreboard. The speed up front for Norwin and the solid defense has stymied St. Clair so far. Well out on the head by RJ White. Now contested hard by Connor Ryan. That's some good hustle that a coach always loves. Got a bit lucky there. Zach Shoemaker stepped forward nicely, got in front of his guy, had an unlucky touch on the ball. Norwin forward, stole it and was able to get kind of a weak shot off, just dribbled by the far post. Some good hustle in the midfield there by Connor Sibley to try and knock it off to Connor Ryan. Connor tried to actually knock it off the Norwin defender there. Missed him, and Norwin has a throw in. Good step by Ben Backdine. I don't know if that was a foul as much as just a kid hustling and then ended up falling down, but you're going to get those kinds of calls when you're hustling. Field's tilted a bit in Norwin's favor now, so those calls often go their way in that circumstance. Well up by RJ White. RJ White is probably the best at winning the head balls back there. And that is going to be a foul, not a throw in. So they're going to be able to knock it from there. It's almost as if it was a short corner. And again, St. Clair has had trouble on plays like this. They better mark up. There's some guys. Okay, it looks like everyone's marked up in the back by now. And a coach I had once would say, "You've got the whole field, son. It's a big field. Just make sure it stays on it." So at the 22:44 mark, Nate Murphy knocks it out off of a goal kick. Riley Lenthal tries an over-ambitious pass all the way across the field. We've got to get it settled down and knock some 10, 20, 30-yard passes before we try those balls, I think. Okay. One thing is St. Clair is also going to have to keep their feet moving because Norwin is going to come to the ball. They're determined to win the ball, win the 50-50 balls. That was a clean play by the keeper there. Some of the St. Clair fans didn't like it, but that was a good play, good hustle play. Here's a ball outside that could be dangerous. Danny Berlin tracks back. Luckily, Zach Ioli does as well. And skillful Zach is going to be able to knock stayed in. Up to Ben Backdine. Now we've got a 1-2 ball out here from Dylan to Zach Ioli. Nice attempt at a lob. Ben Berlick wasn't able to get it. Center defender's got a captain's armband on too. You can always tell those players by the smart plays they make, and that was certainly a smart one by the center back. So both teams are playing their shape fairly well. Norwin's sitting back a little bit when we have the ball, but when there are 50-50 balls, they're contesting nearly every one. Winning everyone, I should say. We get the ball out to Connor Ryan. A slick field, is he able to get it? He is. Snagged by the keeper, though. Keeper's going to play a long ball up. Unlucky Connor Ryan tried to turn with that ball, but he was unable to collect it in the process and snuck by him. Feels a little slick tonight. The players are going to have to get a touch on if they want that ball. In a circumstance like that, that's kind of what Coach Snyder's yelling about right now. Norwin on the offensive again. Defended well by R.J. White. Out to Dylan Mira. Oh, missed trap by the defender. Gets Connor Ryan in. Oh, unlucky. Oh, good effort by the St. Clair side there. Connor Ryan tried to slip that ball through to Ben Berlovic. Bounce off a defender out to Zach Ioli. He tried a one-timer up to the right corner and unfortunately hit the football crossbar. St. Clair's moving the ball much better now. It's on the ground. There we are, 20, 30-yard passes. This is the first time we've had three or four passes in a row. Whoop. Ben Backdine's going to move it back outside for a simple pass. They just play simple. The game is simple. You try and play 50-yard long balls in the air, it's not so simple. Oh, nice flick on by Connor Ryan. Ben Berlovic connects it. Has a shot that is collected by the keeper. A little bit of a rebound there that Dylan Mira tried to clean up, but couldn't get there. So at the 18:37 mark, we are still at 1-0 Norwin. And Zach Shoemaker knocks it around to R.J. White. Just again trying to get the Norwin team to shift a bit. See if there's a pocket we can pass into. And we try a long pass, it does not connect. I imagine at halftime, Uwe Schneider's going to be telling the kids, play the ball more on the ground. We're much more successful that way. Oh, good stick by Danny Berlin. Both players went in hard. That was a good play on both parts. And the Norwin player gets called for holding. Not sure that was anything more than honest grappling, but we'll take it. Ben Backdine collects it. Gonna knock it back to R.J. White. Norwin team shifts. No one checked two, so he goes over to Zach Shoemaker, who makes an unfortunate pass up to the midfield. Ben Backdine's able to hustle in there. Now Zach Ioli gets back. Nice effort at a long ball to Ben Berlovic, but the defender was moving and he was not. There we go. So a lot of playing between the 18s here. Both sides are, St. Clair defense is short up. Norwin defense has been responsible as well. St. Clair just have to be content to play some more simple passes. Easy attempted a through ball collected by Nate Murphy. So neither side is subbed yet, and it looks like St. Clair is poised to bring two players in. as soon as we get a stoppage. So 16 minutes in the first half. We're still at 1-0 in Norwin's favor. It appears at this point that Mitch Friday and Nick Tanner are coming in. Nick's a forward usually. Looks like he's playing the outside right midfielder spot. Mitch looks like he's at the center forward spot up there right behind Ben Berlovic. Excuse me, Dylan Mira stayed up front. So Mitch Friday subbed in for Ben Berlovic, and Dylan Mira slipped up front into that lone striker spot. Abelardo Sabarzo looks like he's also poised to come in for St. Clair at the next stoppage. Norwin's going to make a substitution as well. Well defended by Zach Shoemaker. And get a goal kick out of it. He was able to defend that well, get in good position, get his shoulder on the offensive player. Ball went off the Norwin toe. And Abelardo Sabarzo comes in for Ben Backdine at a holding midfielder spot, although he'll be in a more attacking role. And it seems that Connor Sibley would be more content to hold back right now. And good flick on by Mitch Friday. Mitch is a good gritty hustle player as well. This is what this game needs right now. That would be an offsides, but missed. Missed by the official. Norwin gets a shot. Good save by Nate Murphy. Finally out by Danny Berlin. St. Clair can counter here if they can get the ball on the floor, but Norwin's able to collect themselves and knock it back into our defensive area.
What are you doing?
Abelardo Sabarzo dispossessed in the defensive end. Cleared out of bounds by RJ White, but that's okay. St. Clair needs a minute to settle down here. Oh, with a flip through for Norwin. He lands on the field when he tries to do it. Those often look a bit better than they are, but people do those flip throws to try and get some extra whip and distance on the ball. The first time I saw that was a player from West Virginia did that. We were playing West Virginia in a college game, and this kid could throw it country mile. I haven't seen anyone able to do it as well as that player for sure. St. Clair's chasing a bit now. They're out of shape. Very disorganized at the moment. Got players chasing the ball out of their positions. Well in by Abelardo Sabarzo there. And well collected by Danny Berlin. That was a nice, solid defensive play. Collected by Norwin. St. Clair's faithful's not going to like that call. Norwin gets lucky there. Little too fancy. That's what you do as a defender. Some kid popping the ball in the air, you want to knock it or knock him. Make sure he knows he's not going to get away with that kind of stuff. So not a bad foul. Just over midline. Headed out nicely. I believe that was Riley Lenthal that got his head on that. Which is what you want to do as a defender. Just head that ball out toward the sideline if you can't knock it down directly to someone. And Riley does a good job there defending two players. First, he didn't let the receiving player turn. Tried to lay it off. That young man tried to come through, but Riley was waiting for him as well. Well up by Danny Berlin. That's a way to win a head ball. St. Clair's got a bit of an epidemic of just standing a bit now. They're getting beat to the ball. Norwin seems to be more on the move. There's a simple rule in soccer. Usually no more than 3 steps walking. If you're standing, you're going to have to start from a dead stop. You're not going to be nearly as fast on the ball. You're going to be half a step later than the other guys who are moving. And Coach Snyder takes Abelardo Sabarzo out, puts Ben Bakdyan back in at a holding midfielder spot. Well collected by Nate Murphy. Again, Norwin player was able to slip through there. We tried to defend him twice from behind, which is not the preferred position to defend someone. Luckily, a weak shot was collected easily by our keeper. And Danny Berlin goes in solidly. And Danny knocks it into Colin Sibley at midfield. There we are, some short passes on the ground. Ben Bakdyan dispossessed. Ball slips by Connor Sibley. It'll be a white throw in though. Jack Myers appears to be coming in for Zach Ioli. Give Zach a break. Zach does not look any worse for wear with his shoulder. Clanged into a couple Norwin defenders. If he's in pain, he's not showing it. Mitch Friday collects the ball, puts the ball through to Dylan Mira. He's got someone on the far post if he likes to try it. He got hauled down by Norwin. Norwin fans don't like it, but it is a foul. Looks like it's a corner. Yep, that was knocked out by Norwin defender. Let's see what St. Clair runs here. In several of their corners, they've had one high lofted ball, one near post, one far post, one right out on the 6, between the 6 and the penalty area. Haven't had a head on any of them. Let's see what we have there this time. Oh, well up. I think Zach Shoemaker actually snuck up and got a head on it. Just lofted lazily over the bar. Norwin will remember that though. That was a good attempt. We've got to connect on those. St. Clair's been very susceptible on those this year and has scored on a couple, but not as many as have gone the wrong way. RJ White makes a good defensive play out to Danny Berlin, up to Jack Myers. Jack Myers is probably the smallest player in the field right now, but he might be the smartest, and he's one of the best passers. Ben knocks it out to Danny Berlin, just tries to pop it forward. At least it's safe up there. And for the first couple-minute period at 7:55, St. Clair's now had the ball in the Norwin end for at least a couple minutes. Again, Jack possesses it, knocks it back to Ben, up to Dylan Mira. An unlucky pass. Looks like he had a bit of indecision there. Almost knocked it wide and then tried to knock it through the 2 center backs, but he got caught between 2 thoughts, and so that ball got caught between the 2 center backs. I think that's more of a case of a player falling down, but they're going to get Colin Sibley with his hand in the cookie jar for a trip. This could be a dangerous ball. The 30-yard line of the football area. It's about on the 40-yard line for a soccer field rather. This is going to be lofted in right on the 18-yard line. And well out by Riley Lenthal. Riley Lenthal came all the way over from his right defender spot to mark up and knock that ball out. And that was one heck of a shot by the Norwin, number 10, Norwin player. That is going to create a hole that's going to be difficult to climb out of. A 2-0. St. Clair is now down at 6:44 in the first half. Ben Burlovic checks back in for the St. Clair side. So Dylan Muir can get a break. Ben Burlovic has scored a number of goals this year for St. Clair, so I bet when Uwe Schneider sent him out there, he said, shoot, boy, shoot. That kid can shoot. And that's what they're going to have to do right now. They're going to have to start peppering that with the net with shots if they can get it forward. They're going to have to keep their head about them. There's a lot of soccer time left. Got over 50 minutes left in this game. They're going to have to collect themselves and see what they can do about getting some pressure on in the last 6 minutes here, making sure Norwin knows that they are not going to walk away with this one. Zach Shoemaker steps far up not necessarily out of position, but he steps up forward, able to win the ball. Make a little bit of a statement as well as he walks by. Zach's a very clean player, but he doesn't take any business, so I'm sure that's kind of, in a way, what he was discussing with the Norwin player there. He collected bid, Ben back down. Ben twists the ball in. Oh, unlucky. Could not be collected, unfortunately, by Jack Myers, but Ben saw him. The right outside back for Norwin got sucked in a little ball watching there. That might be a thing to remember. That's going to be a St. Clair throw. Danny Berlin's looking for some help from a ball boy who and we've got a substitution here. Zach Ioli's back in for, looks like he's in for Mitch Friday. I think Jack Myers is going to slip into the center spot now. Zach Ioli's outside his left spot where he started the game. Ben back down, hustles back and gets in position to thwart a Norwin attempt there. Tell you, I bet Uwe Schneider is going to be telling his players that you're not going to get many balls lofted by this defense of Norwin. They're in good position. They seem to know how to play solidly back there. They know where each other is. They know where their marking is. St. Clair's had much more success with the ball on the ground, getting it outside and trying to draw it back in instead of lofting it over the top. Norwin is dangerous too. When they get forward, that was 2 passes over 30 yards and then a shot. And Burlovic dispossessed. But contested well by Colin Sibley. He was held trying to go through. Colin's getting frustrated. You can tell he's a very speedy player. Tried to break away a couple times. He's been grabbed, pushed, shoved. But that's what you do to a speedy player. So he's going to have to find a way around those things. Through ball's unsuccessful from Danny Berlin. All 3 players there. No, they misread each other. But there's good team chemistry on the St. Clair side, so a couple looks and we're back in play. No big deal. No one barks at each other on this team, which should bode them well. Being down now 2-0 with 2:45 left in a playoff game. They're a senior-laden group with 7 starting seniors. Very experienced players. Coach Snyder has the benefit of most of his players being cup players on the squad. They've all been in difficult games. He certainly should know that 2 goals is not an insurmountable lead. Jack Myers is having a tough go over here. He's been knocked around a bit. Once he finds his space, though. Got a player breaking through for Norwin. Whoa. Little bit of luck there for RJ White. Got a foot on it, nearly knocked it through his own net, but luckily put it over. Number 6 for Norwin is one dangerous player. The Norwin corner is driven right onto the 6-yard box, but headed away by a St. Clair player. Looks like it's going to be a throw for the Norwin side. Looks like they sub in a holding midfielder. Knocked out by Ben Backdine. One minute in the first half. Norwin's got the ball again. Now just knocking it back to their defender who tries to pop one through, but connects with no one. Now Jack Myers tries to turn on the ball. Ben Berlovic got caught standing. The defender won the ball easily there. And this will be a good time for the half to end for St. Clair. They are a little discombobulated right now. RJ White able to get the ball out defensively. And luckily with 10 seconds left, he tries to dribble out of the back and gets dispossessed, but Norwin's going to run out of time here to do any more damage. And we are back with the second half kickoff. St. Clair is down 2-0 to a hustling, tough to play against Norwin side. Norwin at this point is what every coach would want their team to be, which is miserable to play against. They have been miserable to play against in this first half. They've contested every closely passed ball. They've won a lot of 50-50 balls. Riley Lenthal makes a bit of a statement there. And St. Clair gets a foul, so we'll be at least able to loft one in. Colin Sibley is going to swing one in here. St. Clair is going to be going left to right as we are looking at it. Lofts one in. Keeper aggressively comes out past the 6-yard box and is able to snag it. Danny Berlin won the ball but knocked off the touchline by the Norwin. Oh, excuse me, by Danny Berlin. So it's a Norwin throw in. So St. Clair has come out. They've got two guys up on top now, Connor Ryan being one of them, Ben Berlovic being the other. And St. Clair is playing more of a diamond in the midfield with Colin Sibley back being the lone holding midfielder. And the clock is stopped now while we try and get a ball. The ball boys, there are ball boys here, folks, but they're not everywhere, that's for sure. And they're going to put some time back in the clock here. Now the clock does not start, so it's still at 38:20. There we are, 38:24. And it is still not started. Here we are, started again. The game has been well started. St. Clair knocks around the back. Danny Berlin pops it up to Dylan Meara, who knocks it off the touchline. St. Clair again is looking a bit disjointed to start this half. A couple short passes that we've connected on have kind of bounced to each other. And so again, they're going to have to collect themselves and get a well coordinated charge here. They want to get back into this game. And shortly lofted ball is cleared out by Norwin and sent lazily down to the St. Clair keeper, Nate Murphy. And so far, it looks like Norwin is pretty happy with the score of 2-0. They've had about 9 players behind the ball. They're not going to take any chances. And most good teams, most well-coached teams have a drill in practice where you're up 1-0 or you're down 1-0 and you've got to react to what your circumstance is. And Riley Lenthal makes an aggressive play on the ball there, knocks down the Norwin player. Could have been size on size there, but a bit of a trip. St. Clair looks at least more determined to come out a bit more physical in this half. The dangerous number 6 forward for Norwin has been taken down several times now. Ball's lofted in and headed out by Zach Shoemaker. And the Norwin side does not like that foul. But it was more, again, a case of player falling down with some contact as opposed to a foul. It's a big difference in soccer games. WPIAL referees certainly don't always know the difference, but luckily for St. Clair, they did not suffer the ultimate penalty of having a penalty kick awarded. And that is going to be an area where St. Clair is going to want to get the ball away from. That little area right down there, that right corner of the 18 going forward, looks like a bad luck area. There were 3 takedowns in that area, or good luck, whichever way you want to look at it. At least the referee on this side knows enough not to place the ball at the spot after any of those fouls. Knew enough, rather. So Norwin's got a corner kick here. Many players lined up at the top of the 18. They're all going to split apart. Got 1 player for Norwin on the keeper. He's trying to create some havoc up there, and as a good defender will do. Looks like Danny Berlin's moving him away from Nate Murphy, and it hits the side of the net. Again, got the whole field, son. It's a big field. You just got to put the ball onto it, taking a corner. All right, so Nate's going to try, left-footed Nate Murphy's going to try and loft a long ball here so that we can get it out of St. Clair area. Oops. My prediction skills are not so good tonight. He played a short ball. Danny Berlin plays the ball out to Jack Myers, which is placed through by Dylan Murphy. And Jack Myers is shielded off the ball for a Norwin player improperly shielded him off the ball. It's actually St. Clair ball. And Ben Berlovic tried to get a big foot on that one, but was harassed by 2 Norwin defenders and never could get a quality shot off. Ended up just popping it back over the end line. And Norwin plays it short out to their left back, which is defended well by Zach Ioli. Connor Ryan couldn't collect it. Now it is collected by Colin Sibley, rather. You can tell Mr. Sibley's getting just a bit frustrated. Again, Dylan Mira pops one through to Jack Myers, who is knocked off the ball, but it luckily fritters out to Zach Ioli. He puts it in the middle. Now the St. Clair defense will collect it. But pretty much the whole midfield and forward crew is still in the 18-yard box, so there's nothing for Danny Berlin to do except loft it in. Riley Lenthal defends it well off his head. Colin Sibley looking for someone to pass to. He's going to switch it out to Danny Berlin on the left backside. Danny pops it forward to Jack Myers, who gets away with a handball. St. Clair is just not connecting. Not connecting many passes. And ball flows out to the left. Called out by the referee, so St. Clair throw in. Back to RJ White. And when St. Clair switches around the back, they're able to find some passing lanes. There are passing lanes on the ground there available to them. They seem more determined to make some more difficult passes and loft the ball to each other in the air. And that is probably going to at least remain or increase unless they get smart here. But that's going to remain because they're down 2-0, and even with 30 minutes left, team 31-47 rather, teams get a bit edgy. So it looked like there was a trip right outside the 18-yard box out there. So lofted in and knocked well out by Nate Murphy. Got 2 paws on that. Sent up to Ben Berlovic. He gets away with a handball right in front of the referee. Touches it by the defender. Slips one in the middle. And collected by the keeper. And Ben Berlovic is about to be presented with a yellow card, I believe, for rolling into the keeper. And luckily, the referee keeps his card in the pocket. He walked up, I guess, just determined to make sure everyone knew where the ball would be placed and quell any disturbance. I thought he was going to show him the yellow card. And RJ White says, get that ball out of here. It's going to be a St. Clair throw-in. Looks like Mitch Friday has come in for Jack Myers. St. Clair is going to have to do a bit of a better job as well. Now that ball got forward well to Connor Ryan, who was dispossessed. But St. Clair is going to have to do a bit of a better job of moving off the ball. There was Riley Lenthal had the ball there, and there were 3 St. Clair players content to sit behind defenders with the blue shirts on. Good coaching would advise them to get around the defender if they're interested in the ball. Riley does a good job of defending and not letting Norwin player turn, and when he does, there's no one there for him. Again, Norwin's not going to care so much about that because they have the lead right now, so their forward is playing high on the St. Clair defensive backs, but most of the midfield is tucked back a little tighter toward their defensive end. They haven't completely done what soccer enthusiasts call parking the bus, but we're probably going to get closer to that as the time wanes here. Zach Shoemaker throws it back into RJ White. And St. Clair is not checking back to the ball, so a long ball lofted in goes. Actually, luckily back to Connor Ryan, who gets it up to Zach Ioli. Tried to slip it into Connor, but unluckily didn't collect it. Now back out to Danny Berlin. There's a major gap between the Norwin forwards and their midfield as they're content to defend this lead. So St. Clair's going to need to be patient, get guys checking back to the ball and possessing it. There's a lot of time left in this soccer game. There we are. See how much space is in front of Riley Lenthal? There, a good slip through by Connor Ryan. The speed of Zach Ioli gets onto that ball. And again, we've got to keep moving if St. Clair wants the ball. St. Clair just needs one more pass into the middle. Maybe before we send it in. Someone's got to support a bit better from the midfield because some of the blind passes into the middle just are not reaching any teammates. RJ White patiently waits for the Norwin offensive player to knock it out on his own. And now St. Clair is lofting the ball forward. Ben Burlick slips down on the wet field. Danny Berlin's able to stop the Norwin foray. Out wide to Riley Lenthal. Riley's looking for a receiver for his pass, and again, we're buried behind some defenders, which is not the most effective way to collect a pass. Swing it out wide. Norwin is not shifting nearly as much. They've toned down their aggression in this half. Again, content to sit on their lead. That's going to be, should have been a White throw-in, but they're going to call a trip. And it looks like Nick Tanner is poised to come in for Ben Berlovic. Nick Tanner has certainly scored his share of sophomore goals this year, and he is a hustler. So he will force the defense of Norwin to hopefully into mistakes, or at least to get rid of the ball quicker than they want to. As he will pressure no matter whether he's chasing after the ball or whether the defense has the ball. Oh, and a little sneaky shot by Norwin forward goes wide. Norwin plays quickly when they get the ball. They pass quickly. That was collected and shot quickly. No thought went into that except seeing the net. Long ball forward. Stolen out of the air by Norwin. Zach Shoemaker chases deep into his own end. Connects with Colin Sibley. Puts it wide to Riley Lenthal. Looking for a gap. Zach Ioli. Unfortunately can't catch up to a long ball. Nearly a fumble by a Norwin defender. Passed back to the keeper. Out at least controlled by Riley Lenthal with his head. Back to RJ White. He slips it out to Danny Berlin. And Nick Tanner checks forward. That's the way to receive a pass. Colin Sibley with the ball, surveys the area. Pass into a couple defenders, collected by Norwin. And slipped outside to a right midfielder coming forward. St. Clair again is going to have to get a little bit more offensive creativity at least. Someone checking back to a ball, maybe even someone running behind that player into space if they want to play a long ball, but the St. Clair offensive players are just sitting on the defenders or behind them at this point. Again, a little more expectant than you'd want. And St. Clair's got a ball, going to loft the ball in here. Norwin's holding on the football 30-yard line. Collected by Mitch Friday, gets it back. Slips it through to Zach Ioli. Nice through ball toward the corner, and Zach unfortunately loses his footing. A little turf monster got him there. And it appears that Ben Bakdine's going to be coming back into the midfield here. And Dylan Mira goes off for a break, it appears. And so Ben Bakdine's playing at a high offensive spot now. Kind of the top of the triangle, right behind the two forwards. And RJ White pounds it forward, clangs off a Norwin defender, and We await a St. Clair throw-in. Ben back nine chases. Makes the defender make a mistake. Danny Berlin pops it forward towards Mitch Friday. Nick Tanner checks back for the ball. Handball! Now that was a handball. This referee does not know what a handball is. St. Clair certainly got away with a couple, but that player slid forward, had his hands up in the air. And if any one of these WPIAL referees watches any soccer other than high school soccer, they would hear some announcer somewhere tell them when you slide forward and you have your hands in the air, that is a handball. Your hands are down at your side and it's an incidental knock on the hand. It's not a handball necessarily. But when you slide and you put your hands up, you're definitely changing the flight of the ball, and that's a handball. I believe that might have been at least on the top of the box. I don't think it was inside. R.J. White defends deep in his own end. Up to Nick Tanner, who slid over to the right side to attempt to collect it. And looks like it might be getting late. I don't know if the referees called the earlier game, but been some missed calls here. Nate Murphy calls Danny Berlin off on the ball, and he gets it forward out to Mitch Friday. Mitch Friday's got a lot of green turf to take. Puts it forward to Ben Berlovic. Ben Berlovic slips inside. And it is knocked off the end line by, let's wait for the call. It should be a corner kick. And the referees agree. No. At 20:55, it's still 2-0 Norwin. St. Clair's got a chance here to get something going. Good attempt at it. Good attempt at a head ball. Goes off, just brushes off a Norwin player. St. Clair gets a chance in another corner. It appears that Nick Tanner's going to knock this in. Unless that's Colin Sibley. Nope, Colin Sibley's going to knock it in. We've got several guys in the back post. One guy up on the keeper in the front post. They charge forward to the front post on the ground. Unfortunately, put past the near post by Nick Tanner. Good effort, though. "20 minutes now with a solid defense that Norwin's playing, and as many players as they've got behind the ball. We've got 10 players behind the ball now almost every time, at least 9. St. Clair's going to have to pop one in here soon if they want a chance at this. At least tying and get to overtime. Soccer goals are obviously hard to come by. You're not just going to score 2 in 5 minutes. Colin Sibley shields the ball off, plays it back to Zach Shoemaker. Again, we need a player to check 2. Ben Berlovic collects it off his chest, knocks it down on the ground. Square pass it in the midfield. Unfortunately dispossessed, Ben Bakdian is. Riley Lenthal's in a good position, steals that ball out to Danny Berlin. Ben Bakdian collects it, out wide to Nick Tanner. Zach Ioli calls for it. Nick misread him. Colin Sibley intercepts. Gets quickly dispossessed. Luckily, inaccurate pass down the sideline. Goes out for a St. Clair throw. Got some substitutions coming in now. Dylan Mears checking back into the game. It appears as is Connor Ryan, but looks like someone did something an official wasn't ready for, so Connor Ryan is going to have to wait to get in the game for whatever reason. Fickle refereeing is obviously something everyone has to deal with in every sport. Gets frustrating when you're losing in a playoff game. Yep, that's a foul on the Norwin player. Soccer is a contact sport. You're allowed to certainly grapple and move another player, but when you get your elbow and your forearm up into a player's shoulders on a head ball, that's going to be a call. Colin Sibley lofts it in. Knocked down by Ben Berlovic. collected on the goal line by the keeper. Ben wasn't able to get any power on that, but at least he got it on frame. Collected easily by the keeper, though. R.J. White plays out with a foot. Coach might have preferred a head. Advaya Venkataraman defends. Advaya Venkataraman was goal side. Looks like it went out on a Norwin player. Although I coached Advaya for many years, it's always been easier just to call him Advaya. So he's a one-name player at this point. Check 2 by Connor Ryan. He's going to lay it back to R.J. White. Forward for Ben Berlovic, but bounces out of bounds. Looks like St. Clair now is going with 3 in the back. So we've got Danny Berlin on the left, Zach Shoemaker on the center, and R.J. White on the right. Riley Lentho has come out of the game in favor of Advaya to get some more offense, and someone slips behind R.J. White. Oh, almost a nail in the coffin. That nail just sailed wide over the top crossbar, over the top corner. At 16 minutes, it still stays 2-0 Norwin. That could have been a bad play for St. Clair. Certainly would have won would have been one, that kept R.J. White up tonight. But luckily, it's one he can forget for now. Okay, so we've got a recollected here. Unfortunate goal kick by Nate Murphy. Now collected by R.J. White up to Advaya. It's coming out wide to Danny Berlin, who tries to find Jack Myers, but each player had a different thought of that play. Jack was checking back, and Danny thought he was going to go. Would have been just as effective for Ben Berlovic to take a diagonal run there, but he thought the ball was going to go on the ground to Jack Myers as well. So in on the throw into Ben Berlovic. Colin Sibley collects it, passes it back out to R.J. White. Zach Ioli calls for it outside, tries to put one in the middle, gets a bit lucky. Oh, Jack Myers somehow finds a way to get that ball in the net. That is one gritty, great play by Jack Myers. He just stayed with that ball. He and the keeper collided. The keeper did not have possession of the ball. It was pushed forward by Jack on his chest, fumbled about by Norwin defender. And now it is a game at 14:50. St. Clair's on the board at 2-1. At the very least, they can certainly hope to push this game into overtime. I've been fortunate enough to coach Jack. He is a very smart player. He give you hustle every time he's on the field. That's a great example of it. That's a gritty play that coaches love, not only because it went in the net, but you just love a guy who's going to stick his nose in there, especially, I would say, probably the smallest guy in the field at this point. Now St. Clair is energized. Not that they weren't before, but we can play with more purpose now. Less desperation. Senior-laden team with 7 seniors should get wise and keep the ball on the ground and methodically pick apart the passing lanes, as that's where they've had success tonight. Now St. Clair gets forward again. Zach Ioli gets loose in the back. Somehow, oh, that was a dangerous play. That could have been trouble for Norwin. Somehow the left back got caught ball watching, was watching the ball all the way on the other side of the field. And Zach Ioli was able to slip behind by about 10 yards. Again, now I'd suggest that the path to success is methodically picking apart the passing lanes instead of lofting these long balls in. There's no need to do it right now. at 13:26 to go. You can kind of tell that the Norwin team's on their heels a bit now. With a 2-1 lead, they're just sit back and wait. Decision now is not going to be as effective. And it appears that, we'll have to see how the run of play goes, but it appears now, at least to receive this goal kick, that the midfielders and the top forward are a bit more connected. St. Clair's lucky. And Norwin's pushing forward a bit. That'll create some passing lanes more toward the Norwin defensive end. Need forward by Jack Myers to Colin Sibley. Collected by Zach Shoemaker. Almost over the head of the defender for Zach Ioli. Connor Ryan, never one to shy away from contact. Gets into it with a Norwin player. And that could have gone either way, but unfortunately it goes the Norwin way. In any event, collected by Dylan Mira, forward to RJ White. Good turn with 3 players around him. Colin Sibley, great ball handler Colin is. And he has speed as well and collects that ball. Able to get it forward to RJ White, who eyes up. Oh, his eyes got big there. Put it over on his left foot for a tried an attempt forward. Jack Myers battling. Collected by Advaya. Turned back to Zach Shoemaker and out to Danny Berlin. Pass was knocked down back into the deep defensive end for Zach Shoemaker. That is not as exciting as the Norwin fans would seem to make it. It did crawl across the 6-yard box, but there was no one there to collect it. A slide by Advaya is easily surpassed by the Norwin player, but collected by RJ White. Attempted turn by Connor Ryan is thwarted by the Norwin defender. And a Norwin player is down over toward the bench area. Didn't see what the occurrence was over there. Could be a cramp. Although on a cold night, it's more likely it's a twisted ankle or something to that effect. But substitution made for Norwin, and looks like we're going to be quickly back at it. And again, it's amazing how the ebb and flow of a game will go. At 2-0, Norwin coach was sitting on the bench, just content to watch. Norwin had 9 players, 10 players behind the ball. Now the Norwin bench is standing. The intensity on both sides is palpable. Advaya is able to collect the ball, puts a dangerous square ball across the middle, but doesn't hurt St. Clair. Lofted forward for Zach Ioli, who's got great speed. Oh, he felt the defender coming. Didn't have a pass across the middle, was able to get a shot off, but it just sailed off the near corner. Again, Zach Ioli injured in the last game, but is a very tough, cool customer, is not showing any worse for wear. Certainly didn't mind that. Well, he's grabbing his shoulder a bit now, but it's the first sign I've seen that it's been an issue. In any event, a little gamesmanship by the Norwin side on that throw-in. Now out to Danny Berlin. Danny lofts the ball forward. Again, St. Clair's had more success with that ball on the ground, picking apart the passing lanes, which are available to them. Knocked off a defender out to Zach Ioli. He's going to put a ball, thought he was going to put it into the corner of Connor Ryan. Oh, there's going to be a call on Ben Berlovic. Now that's an uneducated refereeing decision there. That was not a foul that I could see. Maybe from down there was a bit more grappling than we can see from the press box. And Ben Berlovic tries to twist that Norwin player around. Now St. Clair's dispossessed. Norwin mounts a brief attack that's thwarted by Advaya. Collected by Dylan Muir. This game is getting chippy. Every ball is being contested. Every pass of a player past it, an opposing player is met with maybe a brief elbow, a grab. I see Zach Ioli grabbing that shoulder once or twice now, but I can assure you, unless he's made to come out or drugging off that field, he is not coming out of this game. I don't think drugging's a word, but dragged off the field, I should say. We need to, St. Clair needs to talk there if two players are going to go up for a head ball. Luckily went off a Norwin player. Connor Ryan gets turned, but held up by a Norwin player, which is called as a foul by referee. So Colin Sibley or Zach Ioli, like Zach Ioli's slipping inside. Colin Sibley's going to loft this ball to the far edge of the 18. Far edge of the 6, rather. Norwin is possibly unwisely I was going to say possibly unwisely set it in. What's that? Somehow this ball's stopped. The officials called a penalty at the top of the box. Maybe a hold going in. But that might be a makeup call. There's always a hold going in. There's always a lot of grappling back there. Always a lot of hand play. Someone got caught with their hand in the cookie jar. This is a difficult area to take a free kick from. And then we wisely put it back for an attempt on goal, because it is hard to get a lofted ball up over a wall and then down toward the goal at that short angle just right at the 18. Zach Shoemaker with tough defensive play. Sends it down in the corner. It's going to stay on the field. Colin Sibley with his speed has got it. Oh, unfortunately, just kind of slips off his foot and goes out of bounds, but it's a throw-in for the Norwin side. Tough area to get out of if you've got to throw it in by your own flag back there. So a 6.5 left. It's still 2-1 Norwin. But St. Clair's been energized by their goal. They're pressuring now. Norwin has not shifted gears well back into their original form. And one of the reasons Advaya is on the field is for a long throw-in that he possesses. That was not as good as some of his other ones, but still went out for a corner. Dylan Muir lofts a nice ball in. It's knocked down, but cleared by Norwin. Fielded by Jack Myers. Jack puts a move on and gets a ball out to the corner. Looks like Connor Ryan's out there. Scrum on that sideline results in what the officials called as a Norwin throw-in. 5.5 left. We're still at 2-1. St. Clair is looking for this equalizer. Pressuring hard. Have to still keep their composure, but the desperation is going to mount, and it's really unavoidable. No one wants their season end. Forward to Ben Berlovic. The Norwin keeper is good, aggressive, and effective coming out like he does. At 4:50 left, Nate Murphy punts the ball out over at midfield. And that would be a handball. That's a great catch by the Norwin player. He pleads his case to the referee. I don't know why, though. Good ball played out to Zach Ioli. Zach lofts it over to Ben Berlovic. Got caught behind the defender. Advaya sticks the ball well, but is called rightfully for a hold. He had both hands on the Norwin defender. And Norwin is certainly going to take their time. Survey the field and look at things. Waste at least 10 seconds. At 4 minutes, St. Clair inartfully clears that ball. And presents Norwin with an attempt here. And there's Pours with a player on the back post. But for some reason that player didn't see him. Nate Murphy's able to collect an easy, lazy shot. That could have been a goal if Norwin had seen the correct ball to play. And Ben Berlovic plays a great ball out to Zach Ioli. Zach waves his arms like, get in the middle, boys. Oh, Dylan Muir almost. Oh, good steal by Avaya. Avaya keeps his feet moving, keeps hustling, but unable to collect the ball. RJ White makes his statement as that ball's knocked out of bounds. At 3:12. What's often done in soccer games when you're leading is teams don't need to sub at this point, but they are subbing. The referee is waving him off, but he's certainly taking his time. There's 12 players on the field now because the ball was thrown in. That's a common occurrence in apt gamesmanship that everyone expects. Player takes a long time to get off the field, and Dylan Muir tried a nutmeg there that didn't work. But somehow he got it back. Colin Sibley's got the ball. 2:35 left, puts it forward to... he saw both St. Clair players out there, Connor Ryan and Zach Ioli, but neither was able to collect it as it dribbled off the end line. So 2:20 now, nearly 2:15 left in this game. St. Clair is going to have to throw the kitchen sink at Norwin to tie this game up. Doesn't matter if you lose 3-1, 4-1, or 2-1. All things add up to an L. Unless they can get something in the back of the net here. So 2 minutes. Nate Murphy punts it past halfway. Both players go up for a head ball, but both miss it. Dylan Muir wins a head ball. Forward to Ben Berlovic. Tries to use his side, but is slipped by the defender. Connor Ryan with a good hustle play. Or excuse me, Dylan Muir rather. Danny Berlin chases. It's kind of a jailbreak for the Norwin side. 4-on-3 is thwarted by RJ White. Ball goes out at less than a minute and a half now. St. Clair is going to have to loft this ball forward every chance they get and run onto it. It's the only way they're going to get to go now. At 1:08 left, Nate Murphy hurries with a goal kick. Lofts it toward the midfield line. RJ White chases it down. Less than a minute now. RJ White slips two players. RJ White still determined to dribble forward. RJ White has got some green turf, but is dispossessed and caught. Oh, the referee missed another handball. My goodness gracious. Kneed right up in the Norwin player's forearm. Zach Shoemaker lets the ball go back out over the end line, shields it so that we can get a better attempt here. A goal kick's going to be much better than a throw in there. Collected, unfortunately, by the Norwin side. Turned around by Dylan Muir. Wisely just lofted out to the corner. 13 seconds left. Looks like this is where the St. Clair season is going to unfortunately end. So Norwin will go on, and now will also play in the state playoffs. So an unfortunate end to the St. Clair season, but we will see you next year.